Alrighty. Welcome to the Indie Corner off-panel interview brought to you by the Indie Corner Presents. I'm Mikey.
I'm Seamus.
And today, people, we're back at again with another interview, our first interview of on the Indie Corner podcast for 2025. And today, people, we have a very special guest. An artist that we've become recent fans of ever since we did our Fright Month episode of last year. He's worked on many titles such as The Devil That Wears My Face, Sync, Drive Like Hell, and many other books, as well as the upcoming book that's going to be coming out in April, Buried Long, Long Ago from Mad Cave. It is your boy, Alex Cormack. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good. What's up, guys?
We're just chilling, Technical difficulties, but we're chilling nonetheless.
It worked. It all worked out.
Exactly. But yeah, man, thank you so much, man, for coming through. I know we've been talking for a little while, prepping this because you're a busy man. You have a schedule, you have commitments. We appreciate that. We respect that.
Dude, I'm psyched to be here. This is great.
Yeah, appreciate you. But yeah, man, listen, we're gonna get right into it, Seamus and Alex. We're gonna get right into it. So Alex, we always ask this question every time somebody gets one on our show. But tell us your comic book ordering story. How did you get into comics, and then how did you get into the industry as an artist?
So I got into comics because basically from my older brother. I have a brother who's 5 years older, and so he was collecting a bunch when he was growing up. So whatever he had like lying on his bedroom floor, like I just like snuck it in and just grabbed it. Like, all right, what is this? So like one of the first comics I ever read was Kraven's Last Hunt, and so I was like, man, this is some hardcore stuff. All right, let's get into this. And
I got you.
Yeah.
But so he like showed me the ropes. He's like, all right, listen, let me sit you down. This guy's called Wolverine. This is because I grew up with like Batman was like getting really big with the movies, so I love Batman. And then so I was looking at him like basically anybody who was on pajamas, Superman, everybody. And he was like, no, let me tell you he was like deep in it. He was the only guy I knew who was excited when like they announced a Thor movie. Like he was just like, yes, a Thor movie. I'm like, I can't think of anybody else who would care except for you and my buddy Ken. Like, all right, fine. So, but he was the one that really got me into it. And but how I got into it as a career was I was always an artist. Like I was always a kid in like classroom. I was always drawing instead of paying attention, that type of deal. And what happened was I went to college and I was studying animation. And after I graduated, I tried to get a job doing animation. I did some like independent films, but and played festivals and like had my stuff show all over the place, which was great. But nothing was really paying the bills, and it was just a lot of work. And it kind of was getting to the point like, well, what do I enjoy the most is storyboarding, like figuring it all out. That's what I'm having the most fun with. And so I was thinking, all right, well, I always like comic. Why don't I give this a shot? And what happened was, to get into it, there was a shop that used to be called Larry's in Lowell, Massachusetts, and they were doing this thing with Jim Zub's book, Skull Kickers, at the time. And they were doing what I didn't know. It was a contest to be like, hey, submit some artwork and we might put it in the back. I didn't know it was a contest. My brother just said, hey, why don't you draw up something for them? And I was like, okay, fine. I drew up a picture of the Skull Kickers guy. I'm like, hey, here, this is for you. Really like the book, And I won, and I was like, oh, terrific. And so then I was in the back of this like Image book, and then I went around saying, well, I'm an Image published artist, which helped me get a couple of jobs here and there. And then, but so I just snowballed from there. I did a bunch of anthologies, and one job led to another job, to another job, to another job, and I'm still doing it after all these years. So something's going on. I don't know. So
yeah, must be good.
Your hustle and your journey has prominently led you to us, which means
that's right. This is the peak. It's all your fault part. After this is it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, you just kind of fell into doing comics professionally by like, I guess, accident. You're just like, oh, a contest that I didn't even know was a contest.
Yeah, no, it was. It really was like, like I was kind of curious about this. I was just like, because for animation at that point, it was all like to get in a festival was all pay by play, or to pay to play. So like I got in places, but for example, I made a movie that was about like half an hour long. It was like a Christmas big half-hour long thing. I did it. It was me and my wife. It was just us, and we cranked the sucker out and played a bunch of festivals, did a bunch of stuff, and I think I made $20 for an entire like year's worth of work.
Damn.
And I think I got the $20 because a buddy of mine bought one of the DVDs I had, and I said, "Let me give you 20 for this." And I said, "Oh, okay." They'll spot me McDonald's on the way home.
Money's money, man. Listen, money's money.
$20 is $20.
$20, right? Yeah, that's what I thought at the time. Like,
Exactly.
I'm not gonna say no.
But yeah, like it's pretty cool that like it wasn't easy getting where you're at. There's a lot. That's for any aspiring artist. I mean, myself, I'm also like an aspiring artist. It's not going to be easy the first. You're not going to land in the image, right after going to school and practicing and all that stuff. So yeah, listen, you went through the mud, and now you're here, so which is great. It's good. It's
yeah.
It was a nice Lowell Mass shout out too, because that's where my brother goes to college. He went to UMass Lowell.
Oh, is he going to UMass Lowell?
Yeah. I'm 20 minutes outside of Lowell, so I'm up there all the time.
So. I don't want to put you on the spot for the show, but I'll ask you later whereabouts, because we live up in Tingsboro, which is just south of Nashville. But...
Oh yeah, shit, that's so funny, dude.
There's somebody watching like Milwaukee right now. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
What the hell are you talking about? What is a Tingsboro?
That's me right now. I'm nowhere near that. So
yeah, you're in Pennsylvania, Mike. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, no, that's awesome. And real quick, what was your favorite character like growing up? I don't know if you said that or not.
Growing up, it was probably Batman. I love
Batman for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just like everybody else. I wish I had something cooler, no, I was Batman.
Batman. Were you more of a DC kid than a Marvel kid?
I was really into Batman, but I also loved X-Men. I also loved Spider-Man. Yeah, the ones that everybody kind of knew. Yeah, the ones that like if there was a cartoon show about or a movie about, I jumped on them. But Batman was my guy. I like the whole like Nightfall, all that junk. I got all that, and I'll tell you the character that kind of got me going, thinking like, oh, maybe I could do this as like a career, was Invincible. Because Invincible was out. It was like in the middle of like doing it, and my brother was collecting it. He bought me the first trade, and I was like, oh, this is good. And he's like, oh, this is nothing. Let me show you this. And he gave me the Ultramite War, and for anybody that just knows the cartoon or for the animated show, wait till they get into that. That's gonna be nuts. Hopefully, I think they'll keep going to get that far. But there was like one panel I remember. He's like, no spoiler, but like one dude is getting armed through another dude, and guts and blood are puking out.
That happens all the time, though.
Oh, it happens all the time. Yeah, it's nothing new with that series. Yeah. But at that point, I was just like, oh my god, you can, because in my head at that point, before I saw that, it was Jim Lee. It was all like that kind of like if Wolverine came through the claws, you're not gonna get cut. You're gonna get knocked over with that stuff. It's never gonna hurt you. So the fact that this dude's like inside out, I was like, I could do that in a comic. This is allowed, and I was like, oh man, this is where it's at. All right, I think
oh my god, this is legal. Yeah. Oh my god,
this is fine. And this is Image comic too. Like this is not. This is not like my buddy just putting out over there. This is like an international.
That was like the same thing with me, because it was literally the same thing, because like when I was like 9 years old, I had only been reading main DC Marvel stuff, and then I got a hold of like the Dinosaurus arc in Invincible. And I was reading that, and I was bombing civilians and stuff, and I was like, "Whoa!"
It blew up all of Vegas, right?
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh my god! I thought that wasn't supposed to happen."
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of same with me, because for the record, Alex, this is kind of lore for us, but like Invincible is like my favorite comic book of all time.
Oh, right on, yeah, it's great.
And when I started podcasting in college, that was the first book that I ever covered when I got a hold of like the comic book club at because we went to Penn State, both of us, So we knew each other. So when the comic book club had a podcast, I ran it for like 3 years, and the first book I wanted to cover was Invincible. We did all of it. And it was great. And like I got to Invincible when I was in high school. Like I was reading Marvel, DC like normal. Then like all different Marvel happened, and I wasn't really vibing with a lot of the books that were coming out from that period in Marvel's history. So I was like, my boy was like, Mikey, he's like, you gotta read Invincible, bro. I was like, okay, I'll try it out. Right, I was like, this is the best book I've ever read in my ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And same thing with you, where it's like you could do this stuff in a comic book. Well, I was reading Walking Dead before Invincible, so like I was kind of used to it. But like seeing Ryan Otley tear people apart is just like
Ryan Otley's still one of my favorite artists. I love that guy.
Oh, he's top 3. He's top 3.
And it's one of those. I'm so happy for those guys since the book blew up. Now it's got a show, so many more people are watching it, and I like picking up that. I mean, more power to both those guys. I'm
of course. And now, and seeing how you're an Invincible fan, I'm just like, I'm seeing remnants of like, especially the visceral stuff.
Oh, you get
in your work. Yeah, like I can see it's definitely that as an inspiration, man. That's awesome. And
especially my early stuff. If you're looking at it, it's like, especially like the early gory stuff I was doing. Like, no, I had like the Conquest series, like open, like, okay, that's how you do it.
Because I was gonna say that I know you mentioned storyboarding earlier, and I was reading to prep for this. I read all of Sync, and I could totally tell that I was like, the storyboarding in this was killing me, because whenever that fucking blue van, whenever like just the way it would comedically start sliding into frame, and I was like, oh my god, at the end of every issue. And like you said, the gore and stuff in that it all did feel very much like, oh, those are like shades of Invincible, or shades of like, like a Crossed or something like that. And I was like, this is sick. I love this. But I noticed that there's like story building and for me lighting were like two very prominent things in your art that I was like, wow, this is like really interesting the way that you those.
I never read Crossed, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember I bought the trade, and my friend of mine, Enrica Jang, who's also a publisher, she's with Red Style Media. She said, you got that book? And I said, yeah, I never read it. I really like Preacher, so I'm excited to see this. And she was just like, yeah, that book's not good for like your soul. You shouldn't read this. I'm really checking it out now.
Because I did the same thing where I was like, I like Preacher, I like Punisher. Maybe this will be. And then I read it and I was like, oh my god, dude, he's just like doing whatever. Like he's just like, what's the worst thing I can think of, and then have them publish. And then when I was reading through a lot of the series, and then I found out that Alan Moore did like a sequel to Cross, and I was like, you're lying. Yes, and I was like, he did like a sequel that was set after Cross, like after the infection stops and everything. And I was like, why is Alan Moore writing Cross right now? What's going on? What's the world coming to?
We all got bills, man. We all got bills.
That's true.
Which is he's not paying the bills, so he's jump on a book real quick.
It's funny because like Seamus was telling me, it was like, oh Mike, we got to get Garth Ennis on the show, and I'm just like, okay, if that's gonna be a bad idea, because it's not gonna stop me from like talking shit about the boys, because I don't like the boys comic at all. So
and then I was like, after I said that, I realized every question could be boiled down to like, what were you thinking, man? Like in the nicest way possible. Like, did you just think this would be like silly to put
oh, man.
Well, yeah, that's but yeah, the like, I like the use of gore in Sync and in Devil That Wears My Face, just because I'm like, it feels like a very healthy amount that I'm like, yeah, this is what I want in like a horror book. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, dude, with this, I mean, one of my favorite, especially for horror movies, is Dead Alive.
That's a good one.
As everybody else knows, is Brain Dead. And yeah, it was like that, and Grindhouse, and like Evil Dead, like all those movies where it's just it's a great bit like Grindhouse, where a dude gets shot and just put him out of blood. I'm like, all right, that's where it's at. If you're gonna shoot somebody, I want to see, that.
Yeah.
Not like oh no, I got hit. Like no, bam. Let's
like
Django Unchained canon shots. Where
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, that whole bit with the absolutely.
The words right came out of my mouth. James. I was thinking like, yeah. So you're like Tarantino.
I saw you thinking
like,
of it, and I was like, I'm getting.
Oh yeah, just yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, by the way, if this is getting off topic, but next time you watch like if you're sitting down and watch Kill Bill, if you can watch the colorized version of the whole sword fight in the first one, instead of it doing black and white, it's so much better in color. It's just night and day. I mean, it's because I like I didn't think too much of it. Then I saw it was on like YouTube. So last time I was watching, I got to that point, paused it, threw it on YouTube, and I was like, this is such a better movie. Because it's like right up there, that whole bit, like you're talking about in Django Unchained.
It's because the use of red on the white like lighting is like just looks so much better when it's all spurting out and everything. And wow. And I respect the black and white play, but for me personally, I do like the color version a little more.
Yeah, the black and white's fine, but it's such like it just comes off as such a we need to get a good rating on this.
It's
like
which is
whip it out a little bit,
And this kind of leads into like my next question actually. So like because what Seamus kind of brought on, because you said you have a storyboarding background and all that, and a lot of your comics that we've read so far feel very cinematic in terms of like it feels like you're reading a movie, especially when reading Devil That Wears My Face. So like you watch a lot of like movies often just to get ideas, inspiration. I feel like most artists, myself, I do it all the time. So So in terms of what's your favorite genre of films you like to watch just to get ideas? Obviously, horror. I feel like that kind of
it's all over the place, man. It's I mean, it goes from what we were just talking about, like with horror movies, to like like 80s comedies and like to like movies from the 1930s, like James Cagney movies and Bogart and those guys, to like musicals from the 50s, even. Like, I mean, I'm all over the place, like so it really depends. Like for example, when I was doing The Devil Wears Your Face, there's a sword fight scene in there. So before I got into it, I threw in like an old like Errol Flynn movie, and like, all right, let's see how they do this. Let's get some ideas. And then there's like I know with Sync, like John would always give me like a big list of movies to watch. So I'd watch like Blue Velvet was like one, and the whole like the clowns huffing whatever gas is. That's the stuff that Frank Booth's got. So keep an eye on him. That's how I want these kids to be acting. I'm like, all right. But I like from like Tarantino to Coen Brothers to Robert Eggers movies. I'm loving that guy right now. Like watching The Witch a bunch with the new book Buried Long Ago. That was always like checking that one out. But movie. So, but whenever I get ideas for that, I mean, it's all like collected in there, because I'll be like, I want a shot like this, there's like in Drive Like Hell, there's a specific shot that even Rich and I were talking about. It's like, this is a shot from Animal House. Like where like the dean gets thrown up on. I want that, and then I'm like, all right, this is gonna be that shot.
And the thing is, like with Drive Like Hell, I thought, because I read the first 2 issues before we got you on here. And I was loving it, and I was looking at every car shot, every chase shot that you had. I was like, this is a shot from a movie somewhere. Like, I feel like I've seen this before, and I'm like, this man is a movie.
This entire thing, Drive Like Hell was my excuse to do like the last chunk of the Blues Brothers. Like when they're like chased by every cop in Chicago. So I was like, I get to do that mixed with like French Connection, which are 2 movies. Like those are two movies my dad had on all the time growing up. So like those are like stuck in my brain. So I was like, yes, I finally get to do as many cop cars like crashing and this, and like, yep, I'm gonna finally draw that in the comic. This will be great.
and it looks awesome. We'll go into more on Drive Like Hell later, but yeah, so movies and comics go hand in hand. I feel like that's why I feel like most comic book fans are like movie cinephiles. So it just makes sense.
We don't get out much.
We don't. stay inside. You know,
Yep,
adult diaper, chocolate milk. You know,
when I'm watching a movie, I'm looking through a book. You know,
we're all either on Comixology or Letterboxd. Let's be honest.
yeah.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna into some of the work you've done. Seamus, you have a question before we get into the books? Or
No, I think I'm ready to because I wanted to talk about very long ago a lot because I just before read the first issue of that and I was like,
oh, right on, yeah.
We literally were just reading it.
Yeah, and I was gonna you know what I was gonna ask because you there's a lot of at least a couple of books that I've noticed they have a very like distinct fairy tale aspect to them or something like that, and I was just very interested to like where do you get those kinds of influences? Because I know you talked about movies for a lot of the actual shots that you do, but like for the actual fairy tale artistic style for like very long ago and like Road of Bone and like even some in like Devil That Wears My Face, it felt very much like a gothic fairy tale, and I was wondering like beyond Robert Eggers or something like that if there's any other things you look to for that.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, like with very long ago, because I mean, yeah, we were looking at like a lot of Studio Ghibli and and
Nice.
Oddly enough, the first run of Akira, like the first one, when they still looked like kids before they looked like they were in their 20s, before he kind of figured out how to draw them, you know. But like so I was looking at a lot of that stuff, and the book has nothing to do with something like Akira. It's like it was just more like, oh, this guy draws kids really well. I'll take a look at that. The same deal with Studio Ghibli and like My Neighbor Totoro and Ponyo, the fish one. And so I was looking like these guys do kids really well. And it's how many comics have you read where they're drawing a kid and it just looks like just a regular dude with just a big head, And so I was like, I got to make sure they look the age, right? Yeah. But yeah, for any like fairy tale type stuff, it's I'll give myself some more credit. I mean, it's something that just comes out of my head, like it'll just feel what's right for the story, and just kind of like what's around, I've said it before with Road of Bones, a lot of those mountains, because I had just moved I live in Vermont, and at that point my son was still in daycare, so when I was driving him to daycare, we would drive through like these mountains, like not as big as one in the movie, but pretty much. And so I just like, all right, I looked around and saw how the lighting hit the snow everywhere, and all I did was basically just cut out the trees and just made it that much more barren. And just a lot of it's just kind of what would I always want to see in a comic, and in this type of story, how would I want it to look, and just do my best to make it appear to be that,
Yeah,
I don't know if that answers it. I don't know, but nice. And then also a lot of like classic illustration too, like NC Wyeth and blank on the dude's name, but yeah, just older illustrations like that,
older illustrations.
Yeah, and even like old painters like Goya and Renoir, and pick a name. I'm sure I'm stuck somewhere.
I got nice. You. That's really cool. That's really cool. But all right, yeah. So got that out of the way. Seamus was like, because you said I want to ask this question. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make sure to remind you to ask this question because you see very.
That's done.
But so now we're getting into some of your books. And the thing is, I was talking to Seamus about this when I talked to him about like amounts that we had you. We were gonna have you on the show. We was looking through your bibliography of the stuff you've done, and to my surprise, it's so I'm gonna ask you: is it true you did a tie-in comic to Hardcore Henry?
Like, yeah. I look at the hat up there still somewhere. See it?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, where is it? There you go. It's Hardcore Akan.
Hardcore Akan.
Yeah. So
that opportunity happened. How'd you get into that?
So my friend Brian Phillipson, who is the publisher for Bliss on Tap Comics, who I've been working with forever. In fact, we got a new book that we haven't announced yet. Here, I'll do an exclusive. I'll announce it right now. It's called Six Shots, and it'll be coming out later this year. Nice. But and it's gonna it's like a mini series, just like 2 issues. But yeah, we've been working together, for like 11 years now, something like that. So, but he's out in LA, and he's been like, along with doing this, his day job is like working at studios. The studio he's working at the time was called STX, who was the company who at least like brought that movie over to, I can't remember the whole story with it, but they were like one of the companies brought it over to theaters in America and probably other places. I don't know.
Yeah, they did the distribution pretty much.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So so he's one of the guys there, and he said, listen, I do comic books. Maybe could we do something with this movie? And they're like, yeah, that'd be great. So we talked to the director. I remember the director called me like because he was like in Russia, and he gave me a call. It was like in the middle of the night, and I was like, wow, hello. And he's like, hey, I'm the director. And I'm like, oh, great, all right, nice to meet you. But yeah, he was a great guy and all that. Yeah, so we did. But it was crazy because they were like, all right, you're gonna do this comic. It's gonna be like 28 pages, whatever it was. You got 2 weeks to make up the story, write the story, draw it, color it, letter it. 2 weeks. Good luck.
So yeah, these are movie guys that don't know how comics work.
yeah, they're like, well, if you're gonna do it, this is it. And the idea was, all right, let's do it. And if it's hit, we're gonna do some more books with it. And we ended up just doing the one, but yeah, we got it done. And I swear to God, that's the last time I'll do an all-nighter though.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, right, is because I mean the majority of stuff I color myself, and my wife was helping me with it. It was like doing the flats, but like she only got to like 3/4 in, and I was doing the rest. And I remember like it was in the middle of the night, and I had like movies playing on the background, just something to keep me awake. And I remember I had Back to School on, the old Rodney Dangerfield movie.
Yeah,
and he's doing this stupid the speech or whatever, like the poem at the like don't go quiet in that into the night or whatever, and rise up. And I was like, hell yeah, Rodney, you tell him. Like, oh, I'm like all tired. Like, yeah, here you go, Rodney. This is the last one of these I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean,
we got it done, and they put it out, and but yeah, so that was my tie into Hardcore Henry.
I know which is awesome because like when that movie came out, I remember when that movie was coming out, and like it was, and I remember watching it. It was awesome, but I just I always thought it would be kind of cool to like have like a comic book tie-in for it. And turns out, look, when meeting you, did one. In 2 weeks, that's crazy. Like it's just like
I remember being like, "Are we gonna do this like the movie? Are we gonna do it like all first person POV?" Like, no, just regular comic.
Just regular comic.
All right. But like it would be like Brian, because Brian was writing it with the director, so he would send me like, "Here's 2 pages. Like here's 2 pages to draw today." I'm like, okay, and like get right into it, and like I knew what a couple of characters from the movie looked like, but the rest is kind of make it up and yeah, it was wild.
Yeah,
but it's been my go-to anytime I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I could do this. I'm like, oh dude, you do the comic in 2 weeks. Come on, get up. You got this.
It's not a bunch of motivation and Monster Energy drinks that this won't fix.
Yeah, that coffee maker was Mr. Coffee was going overtime with that. He was my partner in crime in that one.
Gotcha. But yeah, for the people, because I forgot I had slides. Like I just completely forgot that I have slides to show stuff. But yeah, nice. People that want to get their hands on it.
Show this Hardcore Henry now is gonna look like crap. I'm like, oh yeah, that does look like too much.
I don't want to give you cringe. I don't want to give you cringe looking at your old art, but just so that they know, if you can find this somewhere, grab it. I don't even know if you can even buy this anywhere because I don't know.
Sure, it's gonna be on eBay or whatever, right?
Yeah, probably. Go to eBay and buy this, guys.
Brian's got some copies.
True. It's good. He did in 2 weeks. Read that shit. But yeah, Seamus, you want to talk to him about sync? Yeah, I think he had a sync question for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say so yeah, I got through all the 10 issues of sync, and was there like where did do you know where the killer clown idea came from with the van? Because in the first issue, you know, it was a nice bookend because I was like, oh, it's just showing that this is gonna be a crazy series. And then there was the whole like getting the van thing at the end of each issue, and then there was the whole it kept showing up, and I was just wondering where that came from.
Yeah, so the newest issue, because we had like a big break between 10 and where we are now, because I think 14 just came out. If it was 14 or 13, I can't remember. But because we had a big break between this one and this one, because John and I, we did Crimson Cage, and then we did and then he did like the Nasty, and then I did like a few things with Rich. But yeah, that's the original cover too. That's that was like the handout from like New York Comic Con like a zillion years ago.
Oh, like an ash can?
Yeah, yep. So I think that painting, I think John's got it. But anyway, so the clowns came from was kind of like an urban legend or like a true story from Glasgow. That like there was rumors that there was like this van running around. Some say it was a blue van, some say it was a white van, but it was filled with like these psycho clowns snatching people up off the street and never seen them again. And then I guess the fourth issue where the kids get together and they're like, all right, we're gonna go find these clowns. We're gonna beat we got like some homemade weapons. I guess John did that. It was him and his cousin and like a few other buddies.
Wow.
And they're like, we're gonna take these guys down. We're gonna take it to the streets. And I think I don't know how far away they got from their house, like a block away, but or maybe they did. I don't know. John's a funny guy, so maybe taking a couple dudes out. Who knows?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite issues. Just how they were like, we're gonna go get these clowns, and then the whole issue they're never meeting the clowns. You know what I mean? They're dealing with the whole business with the torture and stuff. And then at the very end of the issue, they're like, well, I hope nothing else happens today. And the clown car just slowly goes behind him. And I was like, that is a great shot. That made me laugh out loud.
That was one of my favorite endings for any book in that whole series. It was just like, oh man. And I mean, of course, then John and I like made a zillion jokes of like, what was the next panel? And it was like he pulls up and it's freaking Fury going like, hey kid, you're going to the Avengers right now. Or it's like it's like his mother would be like, where have you been all day? Come on, homework, let's go.
Yeah.
But so he might be fine.
We don't know.
I don't know. I think some of that's going to be coming up pretty soon about that kid, but mom's the word right now. But it was fun to get back into it because it's a while not doing it, and then like we would jump in a little bit here and there, and the newest issue just came out. Clowns are all over the place, especially in the end of that one. But yeah, so it's based off. So that's what I told John too. I'm like, when we were first putting the book out, I was like, we should tell people it's based off a true story. And he's like, it's not. I'm like, hey, spread
the legend.
Yeah, they don't know that. It'll be fine.
It'll be real to make it real.
If you slap based off a true story on the cover of that book, I think people would have a very different thought of how Glasgow really is.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We used to joke around. Yeah, the tourism board loves us.
Exactly.
To be honest with you, just like hearing Seamus describe it and also hear you talking about it, I thought it was a true story, and I was like, yeah, I'm never going to Scotland. I'm chilling. They don't need me there. I'm good.
So this is an old story, but I'll tell you real quick. So when we were getting ready to do like the story, like my wife was pregnant at the time, and we actually went over to Scotland and met up with John. He's like, I'm going to take you, or before I get into that, so he was he told me, I'm going to take you around to some areas that that's going to be inspiration for the book, right? It's basically just like like crappy part of town. And so the night before we left, my wife was like, all right, what is this book? Like, and I said, all right. So I read her the script for the first issue. And first issue, it's about like this kid who basically missed the last bus home and is just going to hoof it like a few miles to his house. And it was just one of those, like, we've all been there. Like we've all like missed whatever last name. It's like, well, shoot, what am I going to do? I'm just going to hoof it. And of course he goes to the Sink Hill area, and things don't go really great for poor Alan. But so I read her this whole story, the whole thing with like Mr. Dig almost getting killed, the dickheads, the clowns, and all this stuff. And then I read the last page. I'm like, all right, so I guess that's where we're going tomorrow. And we're going to go to that area. And she's like, are you out of your mind? I'm not going there. I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. John's with us. And John, I think, like weighs like 100 pounds. But then we walked around this area, and and I was like the camera, I looked like some like American jerk, be like, hey, wow, click, click, click. People like trying to go to work. I'm like, I'm from America. Click, click. John's like, just keep your head down, man. I'm like, it's fine. And I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought it was like, we like grew up around Boston and Worcester, and like,
I
didn't think too much of it. But then later we did a podcast with John's friend Ashley Story, who's a comedian. She just had a big show called Dinosaur and all this. Anyways, so I told the exact same story there, and John mentioned where we were, and it was only then I saw her face. She was like, "You didn't take him there. You took him there," and I was like, was this that bad? And she's like, he didn't get killed. I'm like, oh, great. Thanks, John. Like, terrific. Yeah, you brought it was me, my pregnant wife. You brought us around. All right, fine.
Yeah.
That happy ending. We made it up.
You were thinking it was Southie, but you were actually in Dorchester, and you were like,
oh, yeah, Southie now, and it's like all like gentrified. Like,
where it's all 9, and you're like, well, it used to be. It can't be that bad. And you're like, oh, wait a minute.
I was like, I'm just sitting here, just don't mind me, this PA kid, not knowing what the hell y'all talking about. Okay.
That Departed. You saw The Departed, right?
Yeah. But
you can name drop Scranton or something.
Yeah. I know. Yeah,
it's like Scranton.
Yeah, I'm
Pittsburgh, baby. It's Pittsburgh.
But yeah, no, that's really cool. And the fact that, like, when it comes to, because this is Sync is an anthology, do you have a like a different, like, creative method, going when it comes to like doing anthologies rather than doing like a mini series? Or
it was just well, especially at that point, I was most of the stuff I had done, especially at that point, was anthologies.
Okay.
Like, I think I had one series called well, that's actually not true, because I had a series called Future Proof. I had a series called I Play the Bad Guy. I did a series called and John and I did a series called Oxymoron. But each one of those, Oxymoron was like 4 issues. Like, I Play the Bad Guy, I think it was 6, and Future Proof, I think we got to like 12 issues and that, something like that. But yeah, and before that, it was all anthologies. So it wasn't too big of a deal to kind of like jump in, and like, it was all the same world, it's just different faces each time.
I got you.
And so each time it was just like, okay, just another round in this world. It was more just kind of like the John book than anything like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, it wasn't too hard to like get in there and kind of figure out what we're doing.
I got you.
It would just be like, all right, John, they're gonna look like this one, like they're gonna look like this in this issue, and be like, yeah, great, all right, and go.
So lesson learned, people. Whenever you want to do an anthology, or just wing it. Do what Alex does. Just wing it.
Do it in 2 weeks, and you'll be golden. It'll be fun.
That's awesome. Real quick. So I just want to move on to the next book that I want to talk about of yours. That I literally, again, I read it earlier today, like the first like 2 issues. I think it's great. But that's the book Drive Like Hell, man. And I was telling Seamus about it. And I was like, dude, this book is insane. Like, what? Like I was like, I want this to be a movie so bad. I was like, this sounds like a cool concept, but it's it's so fun where it's just like, yeah, it's like, it's guy Bobby Ray, who's like a really good getaway driver. He just get involved into a bank heist from this chick Dolly. He's like, we're gonna do a bank heist. You're gonna be my getaway driver. It's gonna be dope. And he decides to that, the car he's gonna use is a car that belongs to the devil, and supernatural stuff happens. So it's pretty much kind of like a heist movie, like kind of like a heist genre series, but with this like devil possession and supernatural stuff mixed in. So I wanted to know real quick, man, just the in terms of the concept, because this is what's Rick? I don't know how to say his last name.
Duick.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, Rick Duick. What was how did he pitch this to you? Because I want to know how to rattle my brain around that. Like that kind of concept.
Yeah, at this point we already had Road of Bones, we did Sea of Sorrows, and we did and we just did like Breath of Shadows, and like we were like wrapping up that one, and we were basically talking about like let's keep this going. What do you want to do next? And Rich had like a handful of ideas, and he was like, yeah, I was thinking this one, and by then I got like this car chase one, and I had like a chip on my shoulder, or like a little like kind of like because somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they put up online making a joke being like, yeah, next time my artist, I'm gonna give him just a bunch of cards to draw and drive him nuts, and like that's all my book's gonna be. And I was like, oh, bring it on. I'll take that challenge. Yeah. It's one of those. I'm like, oh, okay, tough guy. Yeah. So he mentioned this one, and I was just like, oh, this could be a lot of, like I always wanted to try a car chase in a comic. And also going back to my animation days, like I had made a cartoon called Burnout or something like that, Drive Fat, whatever I called it. And what I did, it was like a stop motion thing with like Matchbox cars. And I remember having a blast with it. And so it's like, I'd love to try to do something like that just in a comic. And like, how can I make this sucker move in still images? And just the challenge of that, I was like, oh, this will be fun. And and because I knew Rich, I'm like, whatever you write, I'm gonna try. I like your writing. You haven't done anything bad yet, so let's do it. Let's go. And he wrote a hell of a story. It was one of those like as ridiculous as I can get. Sure, let's do it. And like I said, I mean, it was my excuse to do like the last chunk of Blues Brothers, like this, I don't think the wheels, except when it's parked, those wheels never touch the ground. They're always, that sucker's flying.
They're always in the air. Yeah. and it's great to see that, because like, as an artist myself, I can't stand drawing cars. I just sit and so I commend you, and I have the utmost respect and a little bit of jealousy that you're able to put as many cars on the page, and they're all very well composition, as well as like you make it very kinetic. Like it's very kinetic, like in terms of like the way you speed lines and all that stuff. I thought it was so dope. I was getting Mad Max vibes. I was like, man, this fool must have watched a lot of Mad Max. So
those big like monster truck things too. Totally were Mad Max. Yeah.
I literally was like, I saw that. I really right before getting onto the call here. I told Seamus I was describing the last page with the pig demon. I'm just like, bro, this is he watched a lot of Fury Road. This is great. So
you're not wrong. No, I totally did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had that. I had that soundtrack going through the entire like pretty much all that drawing. I just had that Fury Road soundtrack just kind of like getting through it and all that. But hell yeah, that was huge influence on that.
Would you ever try to attempt this challenge again with another series?
Sure. At some point? Dude, and that's a lot of the fun of it too. Like, all right, what's kind of a tricky thing to do, and just like, because if you're not like trying to like challenge yourself or like, oh, let's try this. I mean, you might fall on your face, but hey, at least you're trying. And if you fall on your face, at least you fall forward and then get up and keep moving. And it's a lot of that, like, what's tricky, man? What are the other things that nobody else wants to draw? It was like Devil That Wears Your Face. There was like a big horse chase. I'm like, hell yeah, give me a horse chase. And I remember, I think Dave was like, is that going to be a pain in the neck drawing a horse? I'm like, as long as the Kentucky Derby's online, I could look up how horses move, like with like Drive Like Hell. Like I can go to the store and buy like a Matchbox car, or I could like, I can figure this out. I have a car outside. I'll go look at that for a mile, So I mean, but yeah, no, those challenges are fun.
Yeah. And
I say that now, and the next thing I do, I'm gonna completely fall on my face. I'm like, oh no, I go back to basics.
Yeah.
Back to the clowns.
Oh man, but yeah, it's really well done. I mean, I'm gonna read the rest of it because I was having a lot of fun, especially the supernatural stuff. Like the devil kills an angel, and it's like in a driving book. Like, what is this, man? Like, I thought it was so fun.
I mean, that was a series. I mean, I would have been happy to do like 100 more of those. I mean, every issue was just a blast to do.
You gotta, well, I don't know. We gotta make this into a movie, man. I don't know who. We gotta send the comic to some Hollywood. Send it to A24, dude. We gotta send it to somebody. Like, it's just such a good concept that I feel like this needs to be on screen or something. It's really fun.
A24. I know you guys are watching. Let's go.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah, you watch our podcast. Help us out here. We want this reality. Real quick though, before we move on to the next book, who would you cast as Bobby Ray? Like, I don't know in your mind. I don't know who you're envisioning when you were drawing the character.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I don't know. I remember I had I was thinking like 3 guys that I was had in mind when I was drawing them. What the hell's that guy's name? He was in he was who plays, you remember the original Mario movie, not the new one, but the 90s one? Yeah. Luigi. What was that guy's name?
John Leguizamo.
Yeah. So I would have him in there. He would be on the list.
That'd be
and the dude from Planet Terror, like the hero that chin beard, like I might throw him in there too.
Chin beard.
This would be great. Yeah, who do you want to cast? This guy, I don't know their names, but
yeah, chin beard from Planet Terror.
Yeah, beard,
that guy.
I'm sure I'll dig up IMDb later and I'll look him up.
Yeah, probably.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
Is it
Freddie Rodriguez? Is that
Freddie Rodriguez?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Now I can see it. Yeah, after looking at the characters, I'm like, yeah, definitely. Okay. So,
but at the same time, though, oh god, what was the lady it's my own book. I forgot what her name is. She's got a hole in her head for the whole book, but I was drawing her like Jamie Lee Curtis, like
Jamie Lee Curtis,
Halloween era, Trading Places era, yeah. But
that's awesome.
And like the main devil guy was based off of Dean Warmer from Animal House.
Awesome. Yep. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah. So like that'll happen a lot of times. I'll base like certain characters off like who would I cast in this? But it's always like a weird cast. Like I remember like one guy I like the main character in Breath of Shadows. Like it wouldn't make any sense, but I drew him like Dick Dale, the like surf guitar guy. And then there was like another book I based the guy off of like some other rock star, that type of thing. Or I'd be like, all right, this guy's gonna be, I don't know, Tracy Morgan or something like that, or
Tracy Morgan.
It was like, I mean, it's all like John Candy over here. So it's
that's awesome.
It's basically like, what did I just watch like 2 nights ago? And I thought was great. I'm gonna put that person in there.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Drive Like Hell is a great book. I really told Shay, but I think I want to cover it for Fright Month this year because it's this and or Sync because it's such a fun horror comedy book, and I think it's you did a really good job. So I applaud you for it, sir. The next book. So this is the book, obviously, this is what connected us to you, for me and Seamus, when we covered it on our show for Fright Month last year for 2024. But yeah, man, The Devil That Wears My Face, man. This book, I found it kind of on accident. I was at a comic book shop looking for like books to do for Fright Month this year, and we did a bunch. We did like Hellboy, we did Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, which was a fun book as well. And we stumbled upon yours. It was my comic book shop had like the whole trade for it, and I was like, this looks cool. Like I was like this. like I was thinking like we were making jokes about it when we were covering the book. I'm like, this is just Pope's Exorcist, but better. You know what I mean? Like this is what Russell Crowe tried to do with
right.
You know,
I did a screenshot a while ago. So when that movie came out, it was like the little like corner like box or whatever was on like Netflix or whatever streaming thing it had it. It was him in like the red gradient background, which we had for the cover #1. And I sent it to Dave Pepos, and I was like, "Dude, get the lawyers. They're ripping us off.
Get the lawyers." Oh man, let's go.
It's like the Simpsons, like they all like run out like the Bat Cave or whatever, and go down the pole and jump in the car and go.
But yeah, man, it's this book was again our intro to you. It's our intro to Mad Cave too. I didn't really read any Mad Cave stuff before I started reading. Before I came across this book, but yeah, man, this book was really good, and it's I find religious horror like very interesting, especially in film and obviously in comics. But yeah. So what was it like working with David on this project? What was like collaborating, with him on this project, man?
Dave's the best. I love that guy. He's a lot of fun. And
oh no, I lost y'all. No,
Mickey, you lost us. Look, StreamYard's trying to tank us again. We went over our 40-minute limit, and now they're trying to get Mikey out of here.
All right, so that happened. We're back now. But my question was again, what was it like collaborating with David on this project? And again, what was like, what draw you about it? What was this pitch? I was like, I gotta do this. I was born for this. I was ready for this.
No, I mean, because I already knew Dave just from like shows, like we were friends with the same people, that type of deal. Mm-hmm. And we were kicking around an idea for someone else. Like we wanted to work together already. And there, he gave me a pitch for one project like a while ago, and it was like, and it sounded like a great idea. At the point, I'll say that I just artistically I wasn't ready for it yet. Okay. But so he's like, all right, fine. Then he went off, did a bunch of other stuff. I did some stuff, and then he was like, all right, I got this other idea. What do you think of this? And I was like, oh, this could be a lot of fun. Yeah, no, let's do it. And I was saying like, oh, it's like a whole horror thing. It's like the religious thing, but there's like also this like kind of like swashbuckling adventure type of thing going on, like kind of real surreal, like possession. Like, oh, this could be a blast. Yeah, let's. What do you got? Let's say let's and he just he told me like what was going to happen in issue 1, and I was like, you could just stop right there. Like that's what a great story just issue 1 is. I mean, that could just be a one shot right there. Like spoilers. Basically, the this guy's possessed. Priest comes in to like try to save him. What happens is the demon that's in the dude's body jumps out of that body, jumps in the priest's body, kicks the priest's soul out. Now you have this other guy with 2 souls kind of stuck in there, but nobody knows this happened. The priest just walks out like, yeah, I know he's screwed. I'm going back to the Vatican, and I'll give you guys a call. And and meanwhile, this guy's like, hello. And they just got like locked up in this dungeon. And I was like, oh man, it's one of those, and this happens. I've been really fortunate. Basically, everything that I've worked on is like, even if I didn't work on this, I would want to go pick this up and read it. And which has been great because I could be working on stuff that I don't care about. Yes, but this was one like I can't wait to like even as someone working, I'm like, let me see that next script. I want to see what happens next. Oh man, the whole thing was the entire series was great to draw. I enjoyed like every little bit of it. And again, it's one of those. I wish there was like 100 more issues. We just had a blast with it.
I didn't want it to end, man. When we covered it, I was like, I want more of this, man. It's crazy because obviously, like we've in terms of like religious horror stuff like that genre, like we've seen like the Exorcist like trope before, but this was the first time I've never seen anything like this before, where it's like it's kind of like it's an Exorcist type of thing, but it's like Freaky Friday at the same time.
It's not like every like kind of rip off of the Exorcist from then. It's not like oh, little girl's in trouble again. Like, no, our dude, like, he's gonna grab you and like, he'll bite you and like rip it, like, mess you up. And like he, it's not just like, oh, I puked on me. Thanks a lot, jerk. And it's like, oh, that's rude. Like, no, this guy's like, he'll get up and attack you, and like you can like, it's that type of situation. And no, it was like, and like the time period of it too, doing a historical thing like that is just that's so much fun. Like we should like like trying to figure out, all right, what is everybody wearing? Just basic stuff like that. What do the buildings look like? And like, I'd like to look at this, but that's not invented for another like, something like even like 50 years from where we are. And basically, I was hoping to like, or if somebody from this time period looked it up, like saw this copy, it wouldn't be like you and me, be like, all right, it says it's 1997, but that is a 1952 Cadillac the guy's driving. And, and that is a flock of seagulls haircut you got there, and he's supposed to be, that type of.
I got you. But yeah, it's really cool. It's so cool, man. It's just because like I've never seen it before where like the rules and tropes that are applied to like a demon possessing a human being also applies to another human soul and another human being. Because when they do the whole cross test with the body and it still burns them, I was like, this is genius. Like why has no one ever thought of this before? A24, you hear? Listen, man.
Do a double feature,
and it's just like and also just seeing a priest, a symbol of holiness and purity and altruism, be like one of the most vile, like disgusting, like pieces of shit I've ever seen. Like I was like, this man's gonna get you and Dave are about to be in trouble by like by like the church might come after you guys for this book. I was like, wow.
I was raised Protestant. I'm all right.
That's why I'm not even gonna fault you for it. But yeah, that concept was really well done, and yeah, David, have come up with the idea and you bringing it to life. And again, and seeing, I love how we talk about Invincible and just like how we use violence in comics because there are things in this stuff I don't think I should have. I can never unsee, And but it's for the better though because the story was phenomenal. Actually, real quick, because Seamus knows where I'm going to go on with this because I knew when we covered the book and people who are watching, you can check that out on the channel. Great episode. There was a moment in this book in the 5th issue where I was like, I was so awestruck by it, and I was like, how did he get this passed and approved? And I have the page actually. So for the people who don't care about spoilers, Alex, how the hell did you get this page in here, bro? Like how? like I've never seen the imagery of demon possessed like priests now being the Pope of the Vatican, like surrounded by a bunch of bodies and corpses and on a throne of corpses. I was like, wow, like
listen,
did you have issues getting this passed?
I think now that you've said that you're Protestant, this makes complete sense to me.
Oh man.
It was I was gonna make a joke like we tried to get a scratch and sniff type of thing going, but it didn't work out. It's one of those like, he must smell great in there. That's the truth. Yeah.
But yeah, man.
No, I mean this was writing the script, like Dave was like, he's gonna be in there. Like he's gonna have all the bodies hanging around and I think I was looking at I think I was looking at the Killing Joke with the Joker was on the throne with like it was all like baby dolls. And I was like, well, that's wussy. Let's do this with bodies. But poor dude there has got his butt out there.
Yeah, it's
poor dude got his butt out.
Yeah, I was like you can check the episode. It's my like my reaction when I looked at it, I was like, wow, like what am I even looking at? But
you got to work. You got to work. You got right in there and like, all right.
Yeah, man. It was, but overall, man, like The Devil That Wears My Face, is this book was a surprise. I really enjoyed it. And luckily, like, and that was connected us together because I reposted on my Instagram. We were like, thanks. I was like, you're welcome, because it's great. It's this book is something something special. I really enjoyed it. Was there any ideas in here in the book that that had to get redacted or taken out, or like did everything y'all envisioned make it onto into?
No, it's at least for my part, yeah, everything I wanted to chuck in there, there's I mean, that was the nice thing. At least again for my sake, it was more like any editorial I got, David would be like, oh, this is great. Could you just have him facing this way a little more than you got, or or it would be little things like that. Like, could you just get his arm up a little higher, or little easy things like that. And the nice thing was everything that I got like that from, it was like, could you fix this? It was always oh no, that's a great idea. That'll actually help the book. It wasn't just oh, for Christ's sake, who cares? No, it was like, oh no, this is great. Because it was, and that's with, everybody I work with. I'm like, listen, if you got a good idea, tell me it. If you I might argue the point, but let's work together to make this as good as it can possibly be, because whoever's buying this is not going to care if I was like, oh, I already did a page today and I'm tired. Like, no, it's wah, get to work. And so it was, but yeah, no, it was great. So yeah, so as far as gory or going over the top like that, I think there was one, the only thing that popped in my head was there's one part where there was explosion glass or something like that. It was from through a window, and I think the only note I got was yeah, can we just make the a couple of the pieces of glass different colors, because it's supposed to be a stained glass window.
Stainless glass window, yeah.
Okay.
I got
all right, purple, blue, yellow over here. I'm sure. I'm all right, great. It had nothing to do with it's going through the dude and blood everywhere and that's
yeah,
it was just more can we get a little more color on the glass? Yeah, of course.
No problem. Easy.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we move on to Buried, what was your inspirations for the design of Legion? Because I love that design for Legion, which is, people that don't know, the demon that possesses the priest with the multiple eyes and all that stuff.
That's all Dave. I gotta give all credit to Dave. Yeah, so Dave was no, I want just a swarm of eyeballs all around him, and basically my job was to make sure it didn't look like a bunch of bubbles. Someone was having a little kid party. And sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't. But so I gotta give credit where credit's due. Dave had that idea of this is how I want this guy looking. And I said, all right, great. It was as easy as that.
I gotcha. Yeah, simple as that. All right, Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
I love the design for it a lot. So I thought it was really creative. But yeah, I mean, Seamus, do you have anything you want to ask him for on the Devil That Wears My Face topic?
I mean, listen, you've asked everything. Listen, that scene with the Pope was all I wanted to know about, because that was my favorite part of that book.
but overall, great book. I mean, we love covering it, and yeah, man, it's just people read that, and also listen. Moral of the story is the Pope's exorcist could never when it comes to this book. Sorry,
Russell's got nothing on me.
Pope's exorcist has nothing on the Devil That Wears My Face. I'm sorry, it's just Hollywood do better. It's just come on. All right, but well, I think the last book that we're gonna talk about, which one that you've kindly gave us an early exclusive preview on, which we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
But your book that your next product for Mad Cave, which is great that they love working with you so much that we got you on for.
Yeah, even after saying that, they're like, oh, we'll give him another chance.
But yeah, man, your title that you're doing with I'm forgetting his name is Anthony Cleveland. Is that his name?
Yep.
There we go. Anthony Cleveland, buried long ago. Again, this drops, I believe you said April. I believe you said,
right? It's coming out April. Yep.
I got you. So yeah, man. thing is, I had a question where it was like, how can I say anything without saying anything? I've never done this before. This is new for me. You know?
But it's funny too because I'm the type I love spoilers. Mm-hmm. Like spoil everything for me. I don't care. I'm the type that like I'll get into a movie and I'll be like, I don't want to be here worrying about these guys. All right, what's the synopsis real quick? Okay, great. All right, that guy gets killed. This guy. All right, let's go.
It's just the Boston thing because Seamus is the same way.
I did the same thing. Well, because also I was gonna say, I think if the story is good enough that I could know everything, and if the story's good enough, I'm still gonna be like, wow, that was like, you know what I mean, or that's still gonna hit me the same because when they're actually showing it, you're like, oh, I'm feeling the emotion. They're giving me a lot more than just because you're reading words. That's just they do this, and you're like, yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, no, I'm exactly the same way.
Because my whole thing is like like a lot of times I just like to watch how all right, how do they make it? How do they do it?
Yeah,
like, here's your story. All right, I want to see. Okay, how'd you get from A to B? And but yeah, no, I'll tell it to people all the time. I'm like, oh no, spoil things for me. Like one of my happiest things I ever did with that type of thing was, did you ever see that with The Mist?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you know how it ends, right?
Yeah.
So I knew how that ended before I saw it, and I saw it with my brother who didn't know what happened. So when the ending was coming up, I was kind of like looking at him like, He's like, oh my god! Like, look what they did! And like,
I was gonna say, I did the same thing, and I spent more time looking at them near the end, and they're like, "Why are you looking at me like that? What's gonna happen? Wait, what do you know?" And you're over there like, great.
But yeah, no, I mean, there's only I love spoilers. Tell me all the time.
Yeah.
There's only I think a couple of times that I was just like, don't say a word, and that might have just been like Marvel movies, when those were like super hot,
Yeah.
So like
I was kind of like much harder to spoil this too, given it's based off a true story. So you kind of know what's going on a the bit.
So unlike Sync, this one is like these were real people. Like our the mother there, Belle Guinness, was a serial killer. She would she had a farm in Indiana, and she would put out like this little like Miss Lonely Heart type of letters in the paper, basically like, listen, I'm all here by myself. I'm looking for fellas. Basically, I need a husband to help me raise this farm. Slobs don't reply. And guys would write her and be like, hell yeah, farm. This is 1908 or whatever, and and she got a bunch of people in. They would come in. She would not to give things away, but do away with these dudes, pocket the money, and chuck that ad right back out. And she did this enough where she killed a lot of people. And in reality, though, she was never caught. She got away, and don't know what happened to her. But I mean, this for Anthony, like this, like I can't remember if this is his actual hometown or if it was like right next door. But this is basically a hometown story. He grew up with this, and for his sake, this was like a passion project. Like he just was dying to tell a story, and he told me about it. Now about like 5 years ago, something like that, and I think right before COVID, and we were kicking around for a little bit, and we ended up doing another project, which I won't get too much into it, but long story short, it was with Aftershock, and you know how all that fun stuff went. So then, but we still had the story, and we showed at the Mad Cave, and they were like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it." And we're like, "Yes, let's go." And it was one of those like, oh, I'm relieved because I feel like I'm a better artist now than I was when we would have started it. So it's going to be a better book now. And but yeah, I can't wait people to see this. This is this is probably some of the heaviest stuff I ever drawn. There's some this book is not for the weak, despite the little girls on the cover. This is
it's
pretty hardcore.
there were, and I was very impressed with, again, like I was having this conversation about what Seamus bringing up your lighting. And are you coloring this book? You're coloring this book,
Yep.
book as well? Yeah. So like the lighting and the coloring here, especially just to bring up like, you know, this horror like atmosphere and mood. Especially there's one page that involves like some eyes glowing in a window, and I was like,
oh yeah. Yeah, you see a lot more of that character as it goes on.
It gave me goosebumps, man. You did a really good job just to, you know, invoke that feeling of just like just dread in your art in this book. It's really, really good. But yeah, I didn't know this was a true story. So this is all right. So
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
But what was so what do you in terms of like, you know, the actual like fairy tale aspect? And again, I'm happy Seamus asked that question earlier. What was some of the inspiration involving like, you know, the storybook fairy tale side of everything, especially when it involves, you know, the story that these girls, you know, get introduced to
so because there's a whole kind of feeling to that it's almost like a fairy tale version of this, kind of like a like Little Red Riding Hood type of thing. Like you got this big bad wolf, but you get the little kids trying to just make it through. And also like the book one starts with this whole like knight in shining armor type of story, and it was goofy. I remember when starting to draw this, I drew this first like 3 pages, and then just having to like completely shift gears into like because by the time I finished like page 3, I was like, man, drawing like knights, this is fun, man. Like doing like this whole King Arthur type of stuff. And then switching gears like these little girls, and then like doing this whole like Andrew Wyatt type of world. And it was I'm trying to think of anything to tell you. It was just getting into it. Trying to do the whole world justice, and especially Anthony script justice, and just, you know, trying to make it as best as I can, I guess.
It was giving very like grim fairy tale vibes, especially with like that side of the story. I was like, this is really interesting, and and juxtaposing with, you know, the actual true story of this serial killer. I was like, it's a really cool narrative that you guys are like taking a true serial killer event, and as well as juxtaposing that with an actual like supernatural like grim fairy tale type of story, but, you know, more horror centric. I thought was a really interesting, really good idea. And then when I finished reading the issue, I was like, man, these poor girls, man. Like
they have a rough time. They have a real rough time. They go through the ringer.
They had one of those issues where I felt like what you were saying earlier, where I was like, I just want to look up the synopsis and be like, okay, is that what's going to go on? I hope this doesn't go too much further.
This one you can look at the synopsis. It's
that's why I was like, oh no. Yeah. But I gotta say that final shot, I was like, oh, that looks so cool. I just love the way that it was just. I don't want to say too much, but the way it was just coming out of the ground, I was like, oh my god, that looks so
I was like, this is crazy.
Thing on his head and everything. I was like, that looks so cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I tell you, dude, where especially where the sucker goes, because I mean, it's it's drawn, it's done. Like for my end, like everything's drawn, everything's colored, and now it's coming out. So it's not like sometimes like you do these and like, all right, I drew issue 1 and 2, but now I'm in the middle of number 3 or whatever. Like, so I'm like, oh man, this is just issue 1. Like I can't wait till you see like issue like 4, or like issue 3. Oh my god, and just the finale and all that stuff. So, but yeah, no, this book is. I can't wait for people to see this. It's gonna be. It's heavy, man. It's heavy.
I don't want to say. I think excited's the wrong word, but I am definitely at least excited to keep reading it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it's funny because I was watching. When I was reading it, I was pulling grim fairy tales, and then when the scene where we get introduced to like, you know, them, you know, because it takes place in Indiana, you know, in the I'm forgetting the actual like date. I don't know if it was mentioned.
It's like 1908, 19.
Okay, so early 1900s. I was getting like, I don't know if you've ever seen like the Netflix version of series of unfortunate events. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Oh no, I haven't. No.
So that gray atmosphere, that gray bleak atmosphere, made me think of that show, especially when we introduced to the mother. I'm just like, yeah, nah, I'm good. I guess I didn't scare the crap out of me. This is gonna be bad vibes already. But yeah, it's so what so. If you want to sum up, what could we what could readers look forward to going through, like, when the entire series
I mean, it is as heavy as I'm talking about it. I mean, there are some really funny bits in there too. It's just a good story. It's I mean, yeah, the whole like fairy tale aspect to it, just the and it's gonna be, I drew it, so there's gonna be some blood, a little bit of blood.
Course.
A touch here,
Django level blood, I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just super proud of this book. I mean, the way Anthony put it all together, his writing, I mean, it was mine to screw up, like it was, the writing was there. And if the things don't look, if it goes off a little bit, that's my fault. I mean, he had it all right in that script. And, but yeah, no, I think it's gonna, it's a great story.
I got you.
Again, it's one of those, like, all right, what can I tell you without like ruining it?
I know. And we don't want to get you in trouble, so it's just like,
pick it up in April. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, well, you heard it here, folks. It's good. It's heavy. It's good. It did it in 2 weeks. It doesn't suck. It did it in 2 weeks, baby. And I forgot to ask you, actually. Wait, so do you usually, when you draw, is it mostly traditional, or is it digital, or is it a mix of both?
It's a mix of both. Like if a page, I think it's like most of it's digital. But if once in a while I'll do a page and I'll do it like traditional. And most of the time I do that, it's basically show off at shows, because it was a while I was doing like all my pencils and then inking in the computer. Now I kind of switched gears, and I'm trying to do more like sketching it out on the computer and then inking it by hand and doing it that way. So like there's a bunch of pages for Sync that I did in that style. But yeah, most of the time where I'm inking it in the computer, it's in Flash or I animate now. Yeah, because I used to do animation.
Yeah.
And I was doing that back when, like, little Flash cartoons on when YouTube was brand new was like the thing. So I was like trying to get into that whole scene. And so that's the program I learned how to use the best on the computer. So I'll draw it in Flash and then I'll throw it into Photoshop, and that's where I do the coloring.
That's awesome.
And so or if I'm doing it by hand, then I'll just take that and I'll like put it in a scanner and chuck that on the computer and color it that way. So it's all over the place,
I got you.
As long as it looks good in the end, that's all that really matters.
Which again, it does. I mean, because that was one of the things I was looking at. I was like, I wonder if he looks like he draws digitally, or he colors and inks digitally, or like. Yeah. I was curious what your process was, because I do most of my stuff digitally now. I was a traditional artist starting out, but now it's just easier. And
so what do you use?
So I use Clip Studio Paint for all my stuff. And I do Photoshop mostly for coloring, but I mainly just use Clip Studio Paint nowadays, and just like whack them into a like pro tablet. So yeah, but it works for me. I'm gonna upgrade at some point, but it works for me. Yeah, see, you already got the pen there.
It's like a nub right now. I probably should switch it out, but yeah.
I got you. Yeah, I would show mine off, but it is in the corner, and I don't want to, leave the screen real quick. That would be rude. But yeah. So I'll almost close it off real quick. What's some advice you'd give to aspiring artists looking to get into comic in the industry?
Oh, holy crow!
Yeah. Besides winging it, because we all know that's
I would say, if you just starting out, if you got nothing. You got no contacts. You don't know anything. Like you're just like somebody in their bedroom, just like, this looks like fun. Now what? Right? If you don't have a portfolio or anything like that, first thing I would say is to build up a portfolio. Don't think of a full story to draw. Think of like 2 pages to draw, and just make up a scene. Like draw a guy running from a bank, and he gets in the alley, and then the cops come up and he like attacks one, just draw that, or draw like you're on a different planet and the aliens show up and they like go, oh no, just draw that page. And then that way you're showing off, hey, look, I can draw now. Look, I drew aliens. I can draw an alien. I could draw cops. I could draw a cop car. I could draw an alley or whatever. I could do, that type of thing. Show off that, hey, I can draw. Or I can draw different angles, all this type of stuff. And then there's every town's nowadays got a Comic-Con going on. If you're near a city, there's going to be some sort of Comic-Con. Go check those out. And a lot of times, like the most jobs I got was just going to, luckily New York's not too far away from me. So I went to New York Comic Con. My portfolio just walked around. I'm like, I can draw. Anybody get a job? And I swear to God, like I went to like back 2010 or whatever. I went to basically every single table, big press, small press, everybody said no except for one. And I am still working with those guys to this day.
Nice.
So it just takes one, right? And nowadays, chuck it up online. Really show it off. And frankly, try to make sure that you have some stuff that is traditional. Get that hand feeling to it, because the whole idea with like AI stuff. Like my prediction with that is people are going to want to see little smudges, little mess ups, little like stuff on your page like that. So don't worry about it being exactly right, because that's going to be overfloated like pretty soon. And people thought photography was going to kill realistic painting. It's still around, So it's just that realistic, that human touch is that people are going to always dig that. So get some of that stuff out there,
Of course.
But then also don't be afraid of reference. Don't all think of it in your head. Look stuff up. Look up artists, see how they do it, see how they tell a story.
Exactly. Yeah. When I started doing cons, which is like I just started doing cons for the last like 2 years. A lot of people keep asking me, oh, like you just remember? No. I Pinterest is my best friend. Like there's no way I'm not Jim Lee. I can't do that yet. So
I mean, dude, so one of the tricks I do is I'll take my wife's laptop and I'll open up Photo Booth, and for each page I'll act it out. I'll get up and I'll like do out the scene. And for example, that one page I kept my pants on, but I squatted down like the dude. And I like sat in my chair like ha ha ha, and then I'll go back and look at that and use that as reference and be like, all right, how did I put my hand up? How did I do this? And how did I things that you want to think about,
being your own reference. Yeah.
Don't be afraid of reference. I mean, I acted out as those little girls in Buried Long, Long Ago a bunch of times. I got up and I was like, and but hey, it helps.
But yeah, I think actually it would be good. I think I don't got anything else.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was a great answer, honestly.
Yeah.
That's great.
I figured it's better than, I don't know, keep plugging away. Like, oh,
yeah.
Just, I didn't think of that. Oh, thanks.
I feel like we've gotten that before, haven't we? I feel like we've gotten someone who's just like, keep trying, and we're like,
as someone who has done interviews like in college and stuff too for podcasts, I've gotten that. I've gotten that a few times. It is just like, that's it.
The last thing I'll say with it was because I used to teach an animation class, and there's an animator. I won't say his name because if he sees this, I don't want to hurt his feelings. But he's big time. He was like nominated for Oscars and all this type of stuff.
Oh, nice.
As an independent animator, right? But the thing is, I would show these kids, and it was a college class, and I was like, I would show him his college film. It sucks. It's awful. It's just garbage. And it was one of those like, you guys are doing better than this. He was nominated for an Oscar, so you're already a step ahead. So what do you want? Just keep at it.
Yeah,
and keep an eye out for ears out for anthologies. They're always looking for people.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Yeah. That's it.
But yeah, Alex, man, thank you so much for joining us, man. I mean, this was planned a while ago, so
it was a pleasure. Yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble about God knows what.
Yeah, it's fine. We go attendance all the time, so like it's all good, man. But real give Seamus PTSD because of how much we do it.
I know.
But yeah, man, we appreciate you again. Anytime you want to come back, promote something else, listen, just hit me up anytime. You guys got to connect because you guys live that close to each other. Y'all are talking Boston stuff too much.
I feel so many Boston references. It's over.
Yeah, y'all need to link up or something.
Let's talk Red Sox. It'll be fine. Yeah. Or in Lowell, the Spinners. Let's talk Spinners.
But yeah, real quick, Alex, just let them know. Let anything else you want to plug. Let people know where they can find you on social media.
Sure. I'm on. I'm all over the place. Just Google my name, Alex Cormack. I'm on like Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, Threads. Not on Facebook anymore. I just recently somehow got kicked off, but I don't know what happened. But I got every once in a while I got like an Alan Grant thing where I just like I'll touch anything anything with a computer and I'll probably break. So
I got you.
But yeah, no, everywhere else, look me up. Yeah, Google me. I'll somewhere.
Any conventions you're doing at all for the year?
So right now, I'll be at the where will I be? I'll be around. I'll be in San Diego this year. I think I'll be in New York this year. But as far as everybody else, I gotta kind of narrow it all down. Mm-hmm. I'll be in Concord, New Hampshire in April at some point with I'm blanking on the name. The Little Big comic show. It's the old school comic show they got up there, which is always a lot of fun. But no, I'll be around. Yeah, I gotta get on that and figure out my schedule. So happens at the beginning of every year. I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, I gotta go through that again, don't
I? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so people, listen, follow him, please. We'll put all of his social media in the description below. As well, I'll put links to some of the books that you mentioned as well, and also please, pre-order Buried Long Ago. Again, we've read the first issue. It is good. We are excited, and we are ready for the heaviness and the distraught of this book. So, please pre-order it. Show Alex some love, please. And yeah, man, thank you so much. You have a good night. We'll be in touch because
yeah. Thanks, dude. This was a blast. Thanks, guys, so much.
Yeah, it's no problem. All right, you have a good one. You can hit leave, and then Seamus will do our outro and all that stuff.
Yeah. You don't have to listen to the outro.
You don't have to listen to us. All right, you have a good night.
I'll say good night. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
But yeah, people, as always, thanks for everyone who will want to watch this. We really appreciate it. Again, follow Alex, read his stuff. It's great. It's amazing. He's obviously a great person who loves and has a passion for what he does, and we really appreciate that. But yes, if you like that stuff, more interviews will be on the way for this year. That is one of my goals for this year or with the Indie Corner is to get a lot more, creators, either big, independent, we want to show love because we all love comic books at the end of the day. And as of right now, people, we just dropped our reaction for Fantastic Four finally because that took a bitch to edit, and it was a lot of fun to do. Shut up, Seamus.
We already had a whole section talking about how you don't like editing. It's fine.
I know. People know. But check out our Fantastic Four reaction. We want to hear our thoughts about the upcoming movie. Here's that. Check out the Superman one. Check out the Daredevil one for Daredevil Born Again. Check out the After Dark we did, covering the best and worst books of 2024, which is a lot of fun. Check out the last recent episode of Deadly Class. Check out the Transformers stuff. Check out all the clips and all that stuff. We put our heart and soul to what we do here on the Indie Corner, and we really appreciate the love and support. And as always, people, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Comment down below. What do you think of Alex? You can check out any of his books. And as always, people, get home safe. We'll catch y'all next time. All right. Peace.